children heard crying for their parents after being split from them at U.S. border. To view this video, please enable JavaScript, and consider upgrading to a web browser that supports HTML5. Video: Young children can be heard crying for their mom and dad in an audio recording from the U.S. Immigration Center. The clip captures the heartbreaking cries of Central American kids after they were separated from their parents at the border last week. The children are just 10 of more than 2,000 who have been separated from their families after the Trump's administration announced a new zero-tolerance immigration policy. The policy calls for prosecuting all people who attempt to illegally enter the country, while their children are placed in government care. One child is heard weeping in the audio file that was first obtained by non-profit organization ProPublica. Papa. Human rights attorney Jennifer Harbury said she received the tape from a whistleblower and said it was recorded in the last week. She did not provide details about where exactly it was recorded. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen said she had not heard the audio but said children taken into custody by the government are being treated humanely. She said the government has high standards for detention centers and the children are well cared for, stressing that Congress needs to plug loopholes in the law so families can stay together. The audio surfaced as politicians and advocates flocked to the U.S. Mexico border to visit U.S. immigration detention centers and turn up the pressure on the Trump administration. At the border, an estimated 80 people pleaded guilty Monday to immigration charges, including some who asked the judge questions such as "What's going to happen to my daughter?" and "What will happen to my son?" Attorneys at the hearings said the immigrants had brought 24 boys and girls with them to the U.S., and the judge replied that he didn't know what would happen to their children. Several groups of lawmakers toured a nearby facility in Brownsville, Texas, that houses hundreds of immigrant children. Democratic Representative Ben Ray Lujan of New Mexico said the location was a former hospital converted into living quarters for children, with rooms divided by age group. There was even a small room for infants, complete with 2 high chairs, where 2 baby boys wore matching rugby-style shirts with orange and white stripes. Another group of lawmakers on Sunday visited an old warehouse in McAllen, Texas, where hundreds of children are being held in cages created by metal fencing. One cage held 20 youngsters. More than 1,100 people were inside the large, dark facility, which is divided into separate wings for unaccompanied children, adults on their own, and mothers and fathers with children. In Texas' Rio Grande Valley, the busiest corridor for people trying to enter the U.S., Border Patrol officials say they must crack down on migrants and separate adults from children as a deterrent to others trying to get into the U.S. illegally. When you exempt a group of people from the law, that creates a draw, said Manuel Padilla, the Border Patrol's chief agent there. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, speaking to reporters during a tour of San Diego immigration detention facilities with Representative Juan Vargas and other House Democrats, said family separation is a heartbreaking, barbarian issue that could be changed in a moment by the President of the United States rescinding his action. It so challenges the conscience of our country that it must be changed and must be changed immediately, she said during a news conference at a San Diego terminal that is connected to the airport in Tijuana, Mexico, by a bridge. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas announced late Monday that he was introducing emergency legislation intended to keep immigrant families together. All Americans are rightly horrified by the images we are seeing on the news, children in tears pulled away from their mothers and fathers, Cruz said. This must stop. President Donald Trump emphatically defended his administration's policy Monday, again falsely blaming Democrats. The United States will not be a migrant camp and it will not be a refugee holding facility, he declared. Not on my watch. If you have a story for our news team, email us at webnews@metro.co.uk. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.